Super Street, the game, car meets. Let's build a concept. When you talk about imports, you talk about tuners, you talk about customization, you talk about lights, tyre smoke, petrol burning, girls, music and more girls, stunt shows, raps, pink slips, styling and profiling, and more girls. Those are all of the finer ingredients that make a cocktail cup that every single grease monkey, gas head and petrol head would like to sit out of. That is the holy grail essence of a fully fledged car meet. Now in the racing games community, particularly the open world arcade racing games community, car meets is something that a lot of us have been calling for a long time. It's a concept that many people have requested for, and to be quite honest and to be quite fair, some games have actually given us the opportunity to do that by way of free roaming. But the problem is you kind of have to improvise, and you know, they don't really have any of the elements upon which I just mentioned at the start of this video. For the most part, you just host a private lobby, meet up with a few friends inside there, drift around the map, maybe meet up and just take a look at each other's cars, and that is pretty much it. Not really what you would consider to be a fully fledged car meet. It doesn't have that same aura, that same feel, that same level of social engagement. So what I want to do today is put forward an idea, a concept for Super Street the game, whereby the concept, the idea of a car meet is not just something which is loosely put together by the player themselves, but more so a feature and a core mechanic which is woven into the very fabric of the game's DNA. So for this proposal, what I'm going to do is split it up into 3 separate segments: events, competitions and socializing. So first off, let's discuss the events. Now when it comes to the actual events within the actual car meets, I decided that I wanted to keep them as minimal as possible in terms of the amount, because I didn't want to take away from the actual core game solo aspect itself. So the first event will be known as Drag Wars. Put your pink slip where your mouth is. So drag races are a very simple concept which all of you are pretty much familiar with, so I don't need to explain how they work too much, but what I will do is explain some of the finer detail as to how it would work in my concept within the car meets section of Super Street. Now, drag races will be split up into 3 different distances: quarter mile, half mile and full mile. They will also be split up into 3 different horsepower categories: 500 bhp, 750 and 1000 plus bhp. Now here's the thing, I want these drag events, these drag wars to be tense affairs. I want you to be nervous when you're at the start line. I want you to feel perspiration running down your armpits and sweat coming out of the pores of your hands whilst you're gripping your controller. I want your heart to start racing. I mean, I don't want you to go into cardiac arrest and die. I mean, God forbid, I would never like that to happen. But I do want there to be a real sense of onus and importance over what it is that you're undertaking, what it is that you're participating in. And for that reason, when you enter a race at Drag Wars, you will be putting your car on the line. They will be pink slip races. You lose, you're getting the bus home, or maybe an Uber. Now, for those of you who are spineless cowards, don't worry about it. I've got you covered as well. I've got something to keep your back up straight. If you're too scared to put your car on the line, if the thought of losing your 69 Camaro that you spent months building is just something that makes you throw up, there is an alternative, and the alternative is to put money on the line. But the entry requirement for you to put money on the line will be an extremely high value. You ain't coming to Race Wars and betting no $1,000, 1,000 bucks. No, we're talking 50 stacks just for an entry fee, yo. Hey, listen, don't argue. This is my idea, all right? You're a coward, right? You gotta pay. It's only fair. Now, to keep things fresh and entertaining, these drag events will have themes to them, okay? So we're talking classic American muscle, we're talking everyday sedans, we're talking hypercar showdowns, the best of Japan meets the best of Europe, all sorts of different themes which expand further to engine types, inline 4 versus inline 4, straight 6 versus straight 6, naturally aspirated battles. I mean, there are so many different possibilities here, but I think you're starting to get the picture. When it comes to car meets, one of the most important things is knowing how to show off. And what better way to demonstrate your motoring based artistry than in a 2-minute freestyle challenge. Competitors will have up to 2 minutes to pull off as many handbrake turns, J turns, wall taps, short distance drifts, donuts, and any other type of tricks you can pull off in a car. Now, as you would expect, you will accumulate points for these tricks that you're pulling off, and the competitor with the highest amount of points within the 2-minute time limit rather, to get my words twisted again, will be deemed the winner. Now, to add some meaning and purpose behind this event, as you would expect, it will not be the pink slips, but instead the winner will get a choice of 2 prizes. You can either A, take a large cash prize as your winnings, or B, a box of legendary parts for your car. Let's not forget, Super Street the game is all about building, it's all about customizing, it's all about building your legacy. So I thought to myself, do you know what, other than just progressing through the normal solo campaign and unlocking parts, why not try to do so by way of participation in a car meet event? Right, so next I want to talk about the socializing aspect of the car meet. Now, when it comes to car meets, nobody turns up there and stands there in silence. It's an opportunity for you to congress, conversate, chill out even with like-minded people who are into cars just like yourself. Share tips, talk about stories in relation to your vehicles, talk each other through the upgrades that you've put on, you know, all that kind of stuff. So as I mentioned earlier, we know so far from the little information that we've been given that Super Street the game is obviously going to be heavily focused on upgrading and building. Now, I have no details on how the core mechanics are going to work, but I'm assuming that as you go through, you're going to obviously be acquiring certain parts that potentially might be duplicates or parts that you no longer need. You could even be in a situation where you've got almost legendary parts on almost every single part of your car, but there might be 1 or 2 certain bits and pieces that you're missing, maybe certain coilovers, maybe a specific set of brake pads, a manifold system, who knows. In this concept, there will be an opportunity for you to meet other people in similar situations to yourself who are stuck in the same boat and have the opportunity to basically trade parts, steering wheels, gearboxes, seats, ECUs, etc. Obviously there'll be a party chat element so you can discuss this should you want to, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Now, if you go into this section of the game and find that there is nobody who would like to swap with you, then what you can actually do is put your unwanted parts up for public auction. Likewise, if you're in a situation where you go into the swap area and find that nobody has the part that you want, you could obviously go into the auction house and see whether or not it's available for you to bid for. The bids will be in real time, similar to the way in which how the Forza auction house works. Now, I mentioned earlier on that in my idea of a car meet, you also get the ability to, you know, let each other just test drive one another's vehicles, you know, just take it for a short spin. Maybe you've turned up with an R34 Skyline and you just want to see how it compares handling wise to an R33. You find an R33 owner, you get talking and you test drive his car. Maybe you've never ever experienced the true power of a rotary engine. Someone turns up in an RX-7 or maybe even an RX-8. That's your opportunity to hop in and take it for a spin, obviously with his permission or her permission. Now, last but not least, we're going to talk about the competition element of the car meet. Now, over the years, for a long time, from generation to generation, we've seen an increased emphasis on the creative aspect of the car community in racing games by way of rap editors. You've got loads of YouTubers out there, you've got loads of Instagram photographers out there who are really good at actually designing raps, being creative, showcasing their artwork, and just broadcasting it across all social media platforms. What I want to do is bring that same energy across and implement it into Super Street the game by way of the car meets. So what I would do in this concept is basically have competitions, rap based design challenges, whereby every single month there will be a different opportunity for you to get creative in your rap editors, put together a rap of your choice, and then obviously drive your car to the car meet. What will happen is there will be a voting based system in place. People will have the opportunity to actually take a look at various different designs that have been made by the community and quite simply vote for what they feel is their favorite design. Now, as you would expect, there will be loads of people that are entering in this online. So what will happen is at the end of the month, there will be prizes that are given out to all of the runners up. So I'm not sure how many runners up there will be at this present moment in time because this is just a concept that I'm throwing together in my head. But let's say there were 10 runners up. Each one of those 10 runners up will all receive legendary parts for a car of their choosing within their garage, and they will also win in-game currency as well. Now that only leaves one position, right? The winner. Right then, for the winner, and you guys will love this. So we all know that Super Street the game is obviously a spin-off which is spawned by the Super Street magazine itself, and that's the reason why there's so much hype around this game. It's probably the first game that I know of that's actually being spawned from an actual magazine which is based specifically on car culture, car customization, tuning, upgrading, etc. Everything I've spoken about in this video and previous videos. If there was ever a magazine-based publication that was gonna take the virtual car community seriously, it's obviously gonna be Super Street. I mean, they're making a game about it, right? And for that reason, the winner of the monthly rap challenge will have their car featured on the front cover of the next month's edition of Super Street, the real life magazine. Forget about your fictional front covers and things like Need for Speed Underground 2. In my concept, in my proposal, your car will be featured on the front of the real life Super Street magazine, featuring all sorts of photography, all sorts of shots, showing what's under the hood, showing the interior design, and maybe even a very small little interview with the owner of the car themselves, you. And I think that will be a perfect way to further solidify the tie-in between the gaming franchise and the magazine division as well. Now, there will be other miscellaneous bits and pieces as well. A couple that I can think of off the top of my head is you'll all be able to vote for the type of music you want playing. Obviously, if you're not happy with what's been voted for, then you've got the ability to change the type of music playing during the car meets. And as I mentioned, those people that are really into their cinematics, you would have the ability to use free cam within the actual car meets themselves and actually just walk around with your avatar or using a drone effect or whatever you want to get all sorts of different angles, shots, and put something creative together and dump out on YouTube. So there you have it, guys. That is my idea, my concept, my proposal for the implementation of a car meet system for Super Street the game. Now, some of the screenshots that you saw that were car meet related were actually taken from the GTA 5 PC modding community. I'll provide all the links to that in the description. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts, man. What do you think of this idea? What do you think can be added to it? What do you like? What do you dislike? What do you think can be changed? And what are your thoughts behind the whole idea of a car meet section being added into Super Street the game? And most importantly, do you think it's a good look, the magazine tying into the game further by featuring some of the designs on the front cover of the real life magazine itself as well? As always, I'm very interested in knowing what your thoughts are, so get commenting on them. Also, if you believe this is a good idea, I want you to do something for me. Very important. I don't normally ask this. I want you to share this video across all of your social media accounts. I want you to share it on Twitter, and when you share it, make sure you put the hashtag #SSTheGame. Feel free to dump it in Reddit forums, Facebook groups, Google+, Discord groups, whatever, because the developers are looking at these videos, the marketing team are looking at these videos. I know this because I've spoken directly to someone who's in charge of the marketing of the game. That doesn't mean that they're definitely going to implement all ideas, but if they can see traction behind something, if they can see there is real, genuine community interest behind this sort of idea, who knows, they may be able to implement it in. I mean, who knows, they may have already added this feature and we're going to be pleasantly surprised, but if they haven't, maybe this is something they can work on as future free DLC to add later on. Now, across your screen, what you should be seeing are images of all the previous Super Street the game content that I've been putting out. As you can see, I've been hard at work putting out quite a few videos in a very short space of time. If you've not seen any of them, I strongly urge you to sit down, open a bottle of beer or whatever it is you drink, grab a few savoury potato snacks and enjoy that content. There will be more Super Street content coming on the channel. You know me, I've always got ideas in my head. If it's your first time around here, I wish you a warm welcome. Hit the like button, be sure to subscribe and swing the damn hell out of the notification bell, and I will of course see you when the next video drops. Take it easy, please.